Hey guys, thanks for stopping by here. In today's video, we'll be diving deep in the technical analysis of Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. I'll share with you where my price predictions are, where the prices of the digital commodity asset, as well as MicroStrategy stock is headed. Now, we'll also be covering the latest updates with just recent news around the IMF, how potentially they might be buying up Bitcoin as well, even though trying to push back with El Salvador convincing the United States not to buy Bitcoin. But this truly shows that there is global game theory kicking in right now. It's really a country race where all the countries, including companies right now, are just trying to buy up as much Bitcoin as possible before it becomes very expensive and depleted. Now, also, we're hearing a lot about the United States considering to, realize its gains with gold and using those funds to buy up Bitcoin. Think about like owning your Pokemon card for many years ago, or your baseball card or basketball or football card that's been just in your closet for so long. And now, by selling it, you can realize all of those gains, just thinking about the overall percentage gain with the newer way of investing, looking at Bitcoin, there may be potential for exponential increase. So I think this is an innovative solution that the United States may uh, implement in order to prevent taxpayer money to go up. So I think this is all going to be possibilities here. And again, with Michael Saylor, we may very well see another big Bitcoin purchase that's going to be coming up this Monday, given that he just released the Saylor tracker just not too long ago. So let's begin, guys. We're looking at the daily charts of Bitcoin. So, one of the good things that we see currently is Bitcoin is hovering above 85,000. Very good bullish case here. Just zooming in here, one of the technical indicators I like seeing is relative strength increasing. So, over the course of March, we're beginning to see upward motion with the relative strength, and that's correlated with seeing the short-term EMA just crossed the long-term EMA, which is why we're beginning to see bullish divergence momentum here. And that's resulting in Bitcoin price to go up since its recent retracement of like 75,000. So we've seen a gain of 10,000 from that top off of like close to 110,000. Most of you are wondering, where is Bitcoin price headed? Is there going to be continual retracement here, or do we foresee to have Bitcoin price go back up as we get close towards the end of the month? I'm thinking we're gonna, break somewhere around that 90,000 range, or we may very well even go beyond that. But I think somewhere around that 90K range is very probable here, just based on the direction of Bitcoin price. As we look at the weekly chart here, one of the key indicators that I want to point out is on the daily chart, we saw short-term EMA crossing here. However, on the weekly chart, we haven't seen that yet. But I think all of this is going to change as we factor in more of the short-term data points with the intraday trading, along with relative strength going to have that reversal pattern kick in. One of the key things I want to point out is the last 2 weeks of trading, we've seen three candles here. So as soon as we continue to see, more green candles on the weekly, I think that's going to change the slope here. The momentum may very well change, and I think that's where Bitcoin price is going to continue to increase, where we're going to see that reversal pattern and heading into like Q2 of this year, Bitcoin price may very well just start breaking out here and then, reaching its all-time high. I mean, it got up to like 109,000, but we're not too far away. I think it's a good sign seeing consolidation here. And I think eventually volume's going to kick in here, especially with all of the driving catalysts that we're hearing right now. With that, I want to cover MicroStrategy stock. So, very interesting stock in that it heavily correlates with the price of Bitcoin, but a lot more volatility. This is why a lot of traders, investors really like MicroStrategy along with their business model. When you think about MicroStrategy, Saylor, the CEO, he's a true businessman who takes big audacious risk, and he's been just buying up Bitcoin since COVID 5 years ago. So this company has been buying Bitcoin, whether it's less than 10,000, over 100,000, it doesn't matter. He continues to dollar cost average over the course of 5 years. So there's truly no other company that can catch up to the amount of Bitcoin that Strategy has on their treasury. And in fact, Monday, I'm thinking we may very well hear a $20 billion purchase. But just based on the technicals here, one of the interesting things is with that recent top off of 550 prior resistance, running up back in 2024, we've seen MSTR bounce back and forth, hovering in this bull flag here. I think it's ready for a breakout, and we've seen that signal here where it's which went out of that bull flag where we're beginning to see support be established around that $300, and that's coupled with the relative strength slowly increasing here, as well as the short-term EMA crossing the long-term EMA, which is why we're seeing a momentum indicator here showing signs of increased volume as well. So I think what we're going to eventually see, where the market participants are taking the price action right now, is getting the price action to get to this prior resistance and establish that new line here I have as the new support line somewhere around that 350 range. I think as we head into April, we're going to see that price, start hovering up around this range and start becoming the new support line here. And at that point, we may very well see that gap up, getting back into that mid 400 range over time here. But it's only going to be a matter of time as Bitcoin price starts appreciating. I think somewhere around that sweet spot of like 180K, we may very well see MSTR rip through the current prices and get beyond that $1,000 range. Here's a posting on X in that White House says gold reserves may be used to purchase Bitcoin. So we've heard from Bo Hines, executive director. I mean, he's talked a lot during the crypto summit, and his response over the course of the last couple interviews is as much as we can get. So that's the key thing here. And that's going to be done through innovative solutions. And we've heard from Senator Cynthia Lummis. She's been advocating Bitcoin even at the Nashville conference back in 2024, that US will need to acquire 1 million Bitcoin, approximately 5% of the total Bitcoin supply over the span of 5 years. This acquisition would be funded through the sale of Federal Reserve gold certificates. And Bo Hines is also alluding to not only buying Bitcoin, but also adding ETH, XRP, Cardano, and Solana to that stockpile. Here's an interesting quote here. If we realize the gains on the US gold holdings, that would be a budget neutral way to acquire more Bitcoin, Hines said, adding that there's been countless ideas and the best ideas will be enacted by President Donald Trump. When you think about that with, you know, the crypto leader right now, David Sachs. I mean, he's going to be driving all of these ideas here to Trump, and Trump's going to sign that. And you also have the SEC UEDA working as well, where he was able to announce more clarity around the regulatory framework on the proof of work. Where Bitcoin, along with other commodities, are not considered security. So that really solidifies and establishes credibility around the Bitcoin ecosystem, which really helps the Bitcoin North American miners as well. But this all leads to, President Trump's, continuous message in that the US will become the Bitcoin superpower and the global hub for cryptocurrency. It's the high time that our president started accumulating assets for the American people, which is what President Trump is doing rather than taking it away. And why it matters, the potential use of gold reserves to purchase Bitcoin signifies a major shift in the country's approach to digital assets. And, with the Bitcoin Act of 2025, if passed, could significantly increase the US stakes in the global Bitcoin market. This move, coupled with President Trump's commitment to crypto, could position the US as a leading player in the global crypto market, potentially influencing Bitcoin's price and market dynamics. Let's go. Here we're looking at a visual of M2 supply and Bitcoin. So M2 supply we see here just continues to tick up here. This is based on like the 21 banks across the world. We're beginning to see a lot more liquidity injected in the global economy here. And this is a good sign because why? Bitcoin tends to follow the M2 supply as we see upward motion with M2 supply. Bitcoin will follow that trajectory. However, there is a 2 month lag, but we're expected to see Bitcoin start going up now that we're at that 2 month duration for Bitcoin to start correlating. So this is definitely a leading indicator in what's going to drive up the price of Bitcoin to new all-time high. Here's a posting from Saylor today, needs more orange. So I think we're going to see a big dot. Dots are the new norm now, orange dots specifically. I think we're going to potentially hear a big, purchase from Michael Saylor. There truly is no second best here. And it's going to be interesting to hear, how much Bitcoin Saylor is able to acquire for MicroStrategy here. So big news is coming. Here from Cryptos Are Us. So interesting take in that the International Monetary Fund IMF is adding Bitcoin to their own reserves and soon will add Bitcoin to the SDR basket. It's interesting because IMF, I mean, they've been just trying to push back El Salvador and the US not to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because now they're beginning to lose control. But this is truly where you see global game theory kicking in here with IMF adapting to this. Because why? You know, Bitcoin is decentralized. There's no government control. And this is why Bitcoin is the ultimate hedge towards, a transforming traditional finance here. Let's look at this post here from Luke, just with Howard Lutnick. I mean, Howard, he's truly the big goat here when it comes to Bitcoin crypto investments. I mean, he is the owner of Cantor Fitzgerald at one point. Let's read this quote. I want to make the USA 2 trillion. I own 1 billion of MSTR, 200 million of Bitcoin. That will become billions. And I have the authority from the President of the United States to buy Bitcoin in budget neutral fashion after we sold 5 billion of gold cards and Doge. My idea to Elon is going to cut 1 trillion from the deficit. Step one, cut 1 trillion. Step two, sell 100s of billions of gold. Step three, buy 300 billion of Bitcoin. Step four, force Bitcoin price up to 10x. Step five, get Trump's successors elected after bragging we made the US literally trillions in Bitcoin during our administration. Howard Lutnick has a growing probability of being the biggest NGU contributor in Bitcoin's history, and it seems like he wants to. You have to be a complete idiot to have zero exposure to Bitcoin over the next 4 years. The direction couldn't be more clear. Pump it, Howard. Let's go. With that, I want to play a quick video clip of Saylor here at the Crypto Summit.
I can stand here and I can tell you that I think the price of Bitcoin will go to 13 million over 20 years. I couldn't say that about a security, right? You have legal immunity to actually express your opinion about a commodity. That makes commodities politically superior, legally superior, ethically superior, financially superior to a non-commodity, to a security. And it's not just a little bit better, it's 100 times better, right? And so Bitcoin is a commodity. Bitcoin is actually the commodity. I studied commodities in my early professional years. Every other commodity can be created with technology, with capital, with know-how. If you were going to take your family's life savings and buy a commodity to hold for 100 years, and you thought about it, would you buy soybeans or corn or oil or natural gas or lumber, coal, silver? Well, no, they're all awful. And you know why they're awful? Because it's pretty obvious to you that 100 years ago, it was harder to make those things than it is today. And if the price of oil goes to $1,000 a barrel, we're going to frack it, triple frack it, hyper frack it, and we'll drive the price of oil down.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's just so much going on right now with market sentiment with Bitcoin. I'm forecasting price of Bitcoin. We're going to get up to that 200,000 in this year, 2025. It's very probable. The government, the United States is all for Bitcoin. We hear from Michael Saylor, Bitcoin is the commodity. There's no second best. And Saylor is the greatest company right now that's growing in this century here, and at one point it will become a multi-trillion-dollar company. Global game theory is real. We're beginning to hear more and more companies as well as countries buy Bitcoin. So right now I recommend, of course, this isn't financial advice, to hodl Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. Thank you guys. Let me know what your comments are, where you're watching from. Thank you. And if you haven't done so, please, I would really appreciate the like and subscribe. Let's go.